Hey everyone, it's Monsterforge here again, and this is kind of a little supplemental. I know it's been a little bit since I posted one of my sculpting videos, and we will finish this guy. He's right where I left him off. He's just been cooked. Um, he's solid, you know, he's solid as a rock, and we'll get back to sculpting him in a minute. Well, I will in a minute. The video might come out later, but right now I just wanted. Somebody had asked me. In a direct message, they said, yeah, we saw you start off with the blank, but how did you make the blank? And you know what? That's absolutely fair. I didn't even show how you make one of the blanks that go inside to sculpt on top of. I just said that it was compressed tinfoil with a layer of Sculpey on top of it. And so I'll show you guys how to make a blank right now. So let's set this guy aside. We'll get back to him in a little bit. And here's just a plug of, this is a regular Sculpey. Sometimes, I picked up one of the kind you can get at like Walmart or, you know, most craft stores. This is the original Sculpey. This is the softer stuff. And this is basically what this is. This is just sort of a little bit more of a flesh tone. But this is not super Sculpey. Super Sculpey for me is for the details and stuff. It's kind of like your final layer. But this you can use. And this is basically the same stuff as the white stuff. You can get a pound of this at Walmart for roughly $6. It might have gone up to $7, but I think it's still $6, like $5.90, whatever. You know, Walmart's weird prices, like $5.96 or something like that. But anyway, it's right around $6, and it can last you a good ways. Particularly if you build with something in the core of what you're doing, and then all you really need will be a skin of this. So that's what this flesh colored Sculpey is right here. It's paler than. Thought I had a plug of regular Sculpey nearby, but I don't. But anyway, you can see it's paler than, you know, the cooked Sculpey. Anyway, this is what we're gonna do. First of all, you want to, you know, using a rolling pin, and this is an old rolling pin. This rolling pin's probably about as old as I am. It was my mom's, and got a lot of memories there. She's made many a pie with this thing. But anyway, you can tell I'm still under the weather, still sick. But anyway, you know, just I've kneaded this already, so it's malleable. And just kind of roll it out a little bit. And you want to roll it, you know, both ways. And if you see any air bubbles in it, now's a good time to get them out. I'll use, let's see. Yeah, I'll use my little poker. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there are some air bubbles in this right here, and just break them and smoosh them down. And there's one right here, and it's absolute. I mean, it's not absolutely necessary, but you stand the risk of having an air bubble in the Sculpey when it's curing, and it can break. It can break open from the heat. Just recently I had a project that I was working on where I made a boo-boo about air getting trapped inside of something, and it backfired on me big time. So basically you have a thin layer, and here's some more air bubbles here. And see, it won't really matter. This layer doesn't have to be smooth, because sorry, you're gonna sculpt over the top of this anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. So you just pop your air bubbles at this point, and it'll be covered up by the other Sculpey. Now, we all know what this is. Of course, it's tinfoil, and buy it cheap as you can. You'll go through a ton of this stuff as you make things. And you just want to tear off a sheet. And, you know, you can start off with a sheet that's about, you know, maybe 20 inches wide by whatever the width of the roll you have. I use a smaller roll. And the thing is, if it's not big enough, you can build on top of it. But what I like to do is I like to take a corner and just start balling it up loosely and kind of palming it in your hand, you know, getting it about palm shape. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start crunching it down to the plug shape. Like if you see you can still see the plug from this one that we've been sculpting. If you can kind of get it down to that shape, and you're compressing it the whole time, you're kind of mushing it down. You see it's getting thinner and thinner as you do it, but the tin foil is getting more and more compressed. And it doesn't have to be a perfect shape, you know, it's close enough to that plug shape. And then when you need to add more, let's roll out more tin foil and just kind of wrap it around and keep building up on it, you know, till you get the core that you know, the size that you want in your core. This will probably be good enough, but what you do is you keep shaping it down and you keep crunching it down, just compressing it more and more till it's more solid. You know, if you feel a lot of give in it, you're not pressing it deep enough and hard enough. And you know, keep one edge of it flat a little bit, the other edge rounded. If you're making this size, I mean, you can make it any shape you want, but that's roughly what I need right there. So that's the core. And then what you'll do is you'll take your rolled out Sculpey and I put it on the flat edge down there, and I just start pulling it up, kind of pressing as I do. You can tear it, and you know, it's kind of like a burrito. Take an X-Acto and sort of trim off the excess. Don't worry about it being neat yet. You'll shape that with your fingers afterwards. You're just trying to get it roughly covered to start off with. Fairly uniform, but it doesn't have to be perfectly uniform. Let's see, this will be the shape that you'll build on top of. And take some of your excess that you had here and fill in the spots where it didn't quite cover. This will be enough to hold the shape, and it turns fairly strong after you cook it. It just solidifies the whole thing. And, you know, just kind of keep shaping it. You can kind of smooth it out a little bit here. And you'll want to keep the bottom end of it kind of flat so it'll stand up. You know, once again, just for this particular shape, that's the way you want it. But anyway, I'm just kind of rolling it and shaping it as I do until I get, you know, pretty close to the shape that I want. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to worry about fingerprints, getting rid of them right now, because all of this is going to be covered with Sculpey before it's said and done. Smooth out some of the little divots and mess in it, the little bubbles and all. And yeah, if you see any air bubbles at this point, definitely purge them from it. But that's basically it. And then what you do is you take this and, you know, sit it on a tray, put it in the oven at 250 minutes for about 250 degrees for about 10 minutes. And you'll have a cured blank that you can sculpt on top of. But that's just a little supplemental here for this, making the plug, the blank. And next video, we'll get back to working on this guy. I've had a lot of fun working on it, and I hope you guys have had a lot of fun learning. And, you know, I hope you're learning. But anyway, see you next time. Monsterforge out.